First of all, I want to ask, how many people here are using earphones? Sorry, let me rephrase that. How many people are right now are using the microphone on their laptop or their computer as opposed to their earphones? Got Molly, Elena, Mom and Dan. It doesn't look as though you've got earphones in. I see Maria's got earphones. Sam, are you earphones or laptop mic? Okay, shame on you all. So here's the thing, right? Laptop microphones not very good. I really recommend, especially if you're in a virtual setting like this and you actually have, you know, you care about other people's perceptions and all that sort of thing. I really highly recommend you use earphones. It's going to make such a big difference. Like, people are going to be able to understand you better. And you know, I like to think of this as like the part of the 80-20 rule, you know, the Pareto principle, where 20% of your effort results in 80% of, so if you want to improve your audio quality, the thing is, I think a lot of the time we just assume that what we can hear is the same as what everyone else can hear. But obviously we know that's not the case. And I think it's something you just naturally seem, you know, we all seem to forget sometimes, that the experience, the audio experience that people have is really, really important. So I highly recommend, and all you need to do is like basically shelve, you know, like $6. These earphones I'm using right now, $6, great pair of earphones. You know, and the thing is, it's really all about the microphone, because if you use your laptop's microphone, you're picking up the, you know, the room noise, you're picking up your audio fan. It's obviously not close to your mouth. So you're picking up all this other stuff. Your laptop tries to compensate for that. And also Zoom does as well. So they do a lot of things to the audio to like improve it, because they know a lot of people do this. So I really heavily recommend like just using earphones. I don't really know why more people don't do it. I'd love to hear your reasons. Sometimes there are valid reasons. Say, for example, like my wife, Johanna, she doesn't use them for certain reasons. But really, like, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. And I'm sure you've been in a situation where you're in a Zoom room and there's someone who's talking and they're like so soft or like super loud, or the noise is distorted, you can't hear what they're saying. And everyone's trying to be polite. You know, no one's like actually really saying it, but actually just their audio sucks. Don't be that person, is what I'm trying to say here. And I know I'm having to go at most of the people in this room, but to be honest, like, you'd be surprised. Like, I've interviewed people who have been on hundreds of podcasts, like podcast guests, and they still use their laptop microphone. I'm like, what are you doing? So if there's one main takeaway I can give you today, you invest $5 in a pair of, $5 or $6 on a pair of earphones. So you can see on the document I've shared today, and I'll just pop this in the chat as well. Yeah, I've given an example of you know, a pair of $6 earphones. Simples, right? Just looking through the chat. No problem, Jessica being late, a little bit late, no problem. Obviously, yes, yeah. You see, some people have valid reasons, like my parents. Obviously, it's two people. That's going to be tricky. That's totally understandable. And you know, laptop microphones, you know, they're actually pretty good for what they can do, but just your audio quality is just going to be completely bumped up once you just go to earphones. So if you can, I just highly recommend it. Yeah, Roz has a killer rig, that's true. So there we go. Oh yeah, sorry, I just put the link to Roz privately. I meant to send that to everyone. So that's the first thing. Earphones, please, 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 please. For the sake of our ears, for the sake of people being able to actually understand you. I think it's so important now. You know, obviously we're doing everything virtually right now, but you know, and obviously there's a visual aspect, but audio is so important, you know. And if you think about it, this is what we have to do. You know, we don't have that in-person effect. Like, people can't see how awesome we are in person, so we have to just do what we can do with the technology available to us. One thing to just be aware about earphones is, yeah, Elena makes some good points. is just being aware of also the rustle. Like sometimes, I notice this a lot when, I take audio for podcasts and edit that people tend to rustle, like have the microphone rustling against their clothes. So maybe just watch out for that as well. Another thing that I mentioned to Maricela, because she kept on having like these choo-choo trains go by, and she was worried about the noise there. I would say, actually, to be honest, like even though Maricela talks about the choo-choo trains, I never noticed them in the, during our meetings. I haven't noticed it. So that's another thing to be aware of as well. Like you might think, oh, there's this big noise behind me and no one can hear anything. Best thing to do, just ignore it, just unless someone actually mentions it, or just check, hey, is everyone hearing me okay? Fine. And then just carry on, because what you hear is different from what everyone else is hearing. Remember that. But nonetheless, there is a really good piece of tech here called Crisp that can also help. Zoom actually does stuff to your audio as well. It compresses it. It kind of blocks off certain frequencies, and so it makes you more intelligible and stuff like that. But Crisp will go the extra mile, and it basically mutes all your background noise for you during all your calls, and it will also do that for what you're listening to as well. So the audio you'll be listening to will be more intelligible as well. So I definitely recommend checking that out. The next 80-20 rule I want to mention is if you're doing some kind of something that has some audio component to it, maybe it's recording a podcast or guesting on a podcast, or especially guesting on a podcast. Like podcast hosts really appreciate it if if you're like a semi-trained guest, you know what you're doing with your audio. They will really appreciate that. And if you're going to be doing a lot of audio work or even recording video, especially recording video, this is another pet peeve I have. Like video audio often is so awful. And it pains me so much to see like these videos where I know you can see people invested like thousands and tens of thousands of dollars in this amazing, Kickstarter video, and the audio is terrible and no one can hear a thing and no one understands anything. Don't be that person, please. So all it really takes, for most situations, obviously, there are going to be some variables around recording situations, exactly what you're trying to do. But generally, in most cases, you can pretty much get away with a $60 microphone. The one that I recommend is the Samsung Q2U. This is sort of like an entry-level dynamic microphone, but it's really, really, really good. It's similar to you'll also see there's another one that's recommended called the ATR 2100. This is kind of a classic microphone for podcasters. It's around the same price. Samsung Q2U is pretty much the same thing. It's just like a teeny tiny bit cheaper. It usually retails for $60, but because everyone's, just going crazy and like, having to, investing in audio equipment these days, it's actually, they're kind of selling out of some of the options. So I think it's like $70. But basically, this is, in most situations, this is probably all you'll really need. For really good audio quality. And again, this is sort of just the level. So they're basically on the spectrum of audio quality. When it comes to microphones, you've got the Samsung Q2U, which is a good entry point. And then if you go all the way to the other side of the audio quality spectrum for like, podcaster mics or mics you're going to use for audio visual recording, then you've got like the Shure, S7B, I think it's called. This is the microphone that you might recognize from the Joe Rogan show. This is the one that they use. It's a very great mic, etc. But if I'll be honest, like most of the time, you won't really be able to tell the difference between a Samsung Q2U and one like this, and so this retails at, okay, $400, right? So I'm going to share an example with you here where we can compare, where someone's done a comparison between the two microphones and see if you can tell the difference, because even myself, being an audio nerd like I am, I find it quite hard to tell. So I'm just going to play a little bit of this video.
Into my computer. All right, so now I'm running my Samsung Q2U directly into my Focusrite Scarlett 2i2. All right, so now we are running the SM7 with the exact same setup as before, running right into the Scarlett and then into OBS. And yeah.
Right, so like, tell me if you can tell the difference between those two. I can't tell a lot of difference, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, he's basically using the Samsung Q2U, similar to the ATR 2100, which Molly mentions. Great microphone. That's similar to the one I'm using. Yeah, they're pretty much the same. So $60, is all you really need to get super awesome audio. And in actual fact, like one of the guys, like one of the podcasts that I worked on. Or I like to say that I worked on, he's probably the most well-named, Tim Ferriss show. His recording setup, so the mic that he uses is for the majority, I wish I could find it. So he had an Instagram post. I'm probably not going to be able to find this straight away. But he had, oh yeah, this is the one. Right, so he shared a picture of his, his recording setup. Which is literally the ATR 2100 plugged into his laptop. That's it. And this is what he's used for the majority of his episodes. You can see there, $65 and some earbuds. He records on Skype, and that's how he's done the majority of his episodes. So, yeah, ATR 2100. This is like an older version. This is the one I actually have. Molly has the new updated one. So yes, awesome sauce. Yes, this is in the kitchen. He's recording from his kitchen. So, a lot of the time we think, oh, podcasting, I need a studio, I need a recording studio and this and that. And I need to be in a perfect environment. To be honest, like the thing is like okay, this is another thing, right? So there's a lot of confusion about microphones. People are like, oh, what microphone do I need? Blah, 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 blah. In 90% situations, this is all you need, right? And just one particular characteristic you need to be aware of is like, okay, there are dynamic microphones and there are condenser microphones. Dynamic microphones are the kind of microphones that you might recognize from, band setups, right? Like if you're watching a band and the singer is singing to a microphone, that's a dynamic microphone. Basically, it's just picking up what's directly in front of the microphone. It's kind of like creating this, it's blocking out all the other background sound, etc. Whereas a condenser microphone is one of those microphones that you might set up, you might just put one in front of an orchestra to pick up an entire orchestra. It picks up everything very precisely. So the audio quality on condenser microphones generally tends to be to a higher quality, and this is what you might use in a soundproof recording studio. But in the majority of situations, you don't want one of those because it's just going to pick up everything. It's going to pick up your fan noise. It's going to pick up your room noise. It's going to pick up your baby in the other room and all that stuff. So just stick with the dynamic microphones. Trust me on that one. So that's that. I did warn you this is going to be a very ranty session here. So there's just an article that links to a little bit more information about dynamic versus condenser. Another thing you can do, let's say, you have your audio, great stuff, and you still, still getting a bit of background noise, etc., which is very common, or there's like a little bit of a hum or something going on in the background. A fantastic tool which you can use to process your audio is called Auphonic. And what this does is, actually, I'll just bring this up in, it allows you to process audio, and it does leveling. So it makes sure that, let's say you've got an interview, it's interview audio that you're processing. It levels the voices. So it makes sure that the volume is the same between the speakers. It does a whole bunch of other stuff. It removes background noise. It does filtering. It does all this clever stuff, and it does it automatically. Like it's magic. And it's priced very reasonably. It's like you can use it 2 hours for free per month using their web interface. And then if you go over that, it's still like super cheap. The guys who put this together, they're from Austria. It came out of a university project, and they're really awesome. They're super geeky. I know them well, and but this is just a fantastic piece of kit. It also allows you, if you're doing podcast stuff, it allows you to basically set your. It allows you to sync up, integrate. It integrates with all these different services, right? So you can pull in like your intro from your intro. You're like, hey, welcome to blah, 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 with a little bit of embedding music or whatever. You could pull that in from Dropbox, and you could pull in your outro as well. And you could chuck those on the end, and then you could send it off to, your SoundCloud account, but also your audio hosting platform like Spreaker or Libsyn or Blueberry, and all these other platforms. So we'll do this. You can set up this preset, and it will do this for you automatically. It's really amazing. So if you're doing audio stuff like that, definitely worth checking out. Molly mentions, are you using this for your recording? I don't use this for recording. Recording is slightly different. So recording, you can use, let's say you're doing an interview. Now there's loads and loads of different platforms. Probably the one that's most recommended these days by people who know what they're talking about is called Squadcast for audio podcasts. I think it actually even, I'm not sure if it records video, but I think it might. So this gives you really, really good audio quality. It kind of records from both sides and then syncs up that audio. This is the one that generally most people recommend. However, I've actually found, I deal with people in all kinds of different funky situations. Like one of the ones I've been dealing with for some time with lots of technical hiccups, is a guy in China, and nothing seems to work. Squadcast won't work in China. So what we usually default back to is using Zoom. Zoom produces audio files for every single recording you have. But what we do, in addition to, we basically use the Zoom audio as a backup. And then we essentially get everyone to record natively using QuickTime Player. So we just do like an audio recording on both sides, and then we sync that up in post-production. It's a little bit more involved, and obviously you probably need a sort of audio engineer or service like ours that knows what they're doing. Most audio engineers will know this technique, but yeah, basically that's the way we work. And we have like a whole process, and a checklist that we run through with our podcast hosts and listeners and so forth. Molly mentions blankets. Yes, absolutely. We do this with, particularly with our clients who are doing like audiobook work. So we'll get them to like create this like little pillow fort. Soft surfaces are absolutely awesome for sound. They absorb the sound, whereas flat surfaces, you want to stay away from them. Not so great. So that's Auphonic. When it comes to recording as well, Descript is a really fantastic tool that I think I may have mentioned before. But what this allows you to do is it allows you to record audio directly into here. And so I'm just going to give an example here. I'm going to do a little live demo here. And I'm just going to make sure, yes. So hold on a second. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to just go into my testing folder, and I'm going to, so this is what the script looks like. And it allows you to create recording. They call them compositions for some reason. But yeah, let's say, I'm just going to record into here directly. I'm just going to make sure that I have, yeah, I'm using earphones. Okay, so if I start recording, I'm going to automatically transcribe. And as I start recording, eventually you should start to see the words that I'm actually saying, which is really neat. What the script allows you to do with this text once you've finished your recording, so I'm just going to press stop, is it allows you to do a couple of things. It allows you to, you can see it's like underline the filler words, my ums. It allows you with 2 clicks, so right click on the ignore all of those ums, and then if I play back, as I start recording, eventually you should start to see the words that I'm actually saying. So you can see it's removed that from the audio, and you can essentially use this. It's an audio editing tool, but you can use it like you would with a word processor. So if I just remove text, you can see there's like a timeline down here, an audio timeline, and when I remove sections of text, it just goes boom. It's a really amazing piece of technology. I would say sometimes sometimes these edits for these filler words are not entirely clear or entirely well cut. So what I usually do is it allows you to export this, and I'll export this into like a project file, which I'll then go through and do some more post-production as well. Cool. So yes, Descript is absolutely amazing. There's another thing you can do as well. You can actually take Loom videos. So you may remember Loom. This allows you to just take like nice little video recordings. So I'm just going to start recording like a little video, and here we go. So if I just record some stuff, and I'm explaining things, I'll do a little screencast, and then I'll stop that. you might hear like a little ding, and that is basically Descript noting that I've recorded a Loom video and allows you to add the Loom project immediately. And it will also transcribe that for me, and I can do the video editing in here in Descript as well, the same way as I would with audio. Yes, it's going to be a little bit jerky when you edit that video, but actually I think it's kind of a cool effect. Like when I've seen that in videos, I'm like, oh, that's cool. He's kind of jumping around a little bit. That's kind of so yeah, that's definitely a really, really cool feature of Descript as well. If you go to the Descript website, it's just descript.com. They have like a super cool, it's one of the best explainer videos I've seen as well. It's quite funny, and it basically gives you an idea of how the software works as well. It's really cool. And they have a really, really great walkthrough tutorial as well. So it's one of the easier tools to learn, I think, as well. Okay, so I'm now aware that it's 3 to the hour, and I would say I'm probably, yeah, about 50% way through this. So I'm probably going to do a take 2 on the audio thing. So this is going to be a part 2, which I will resume in about 2 weeks' time. And with all that said, I'm just going to go through some of the chat here. And if anyone wants to speak up and ask any questions, please feel free to go ahead as well.
This is chock full of awesomeness. I have so many curiosities about what to play with first, but quick question about Descript. Is that a desktop app, or is that a subscription-based service?
It's desktop. The first 3 hours per month are free. And then it has a subscription for $10 a month. You get 10 hours of audio per month. There are very few tools that I pay for on a subscription basis. This is one of the very few that I do. It's just so worth it.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
I missed the part where you addressed the mic clip thing. Also, like the other question is, I tend to gesticulate and move around a lot because that's my natural way of being. Is that mic that you recommended one that would continue to catch the voice? Or like, is there something more specific for people who like move around?
I would probably suggest that you get a pair of Bluetooth earphones like this. That you connect to your computer. That would probably be the most cost effective. Like this one, so this dynamic microphone, the same one that Molly has, or a very similar one to Molly has, it's on a boom arm. So it's like on an arm that I attach to my desk. It allows me to swivel it around a little bit, which is good. But if you're moving around way more and around the room or whatever, it's going to be your laptop microphone or a Bluetooth headset, or if you wanted to go for the higher end, you probably go like for a audio interface, which would plug into your computer via USB, but then would give you an XLR input as well, where you can plug in, like, I wouldn't use an ATR 2100 because it does pick up like handheld noise a lot. So I would use like one of the, I forget which, it's like a Shure something 58, which is what most of the singers use, and I would plug that into an audio interface. It's XLR only, whereas the Audio-Technica 2100 is USB and XLR. So, sorry, I know it's a lot of audio geekery today. So.
Well, we can tell that somebody loves this.
Yeah. Yeah, so the thing is, like, I studied music at university. That was the thing I went to university for, but I wanted to do audio tech, but I could only do music. And then I did my music stuff, and audio stuff. Then I went into tech, and now I've kind of merged the two. So
Nice.
Yeah.
So it all comes together.
Jonathan, this was amazing. I'm going to go ahead and buy that one that you just mentioned because I've been doing so much research and not hearing one that I could just one single option. So I'm just gonna buy that one. And if it doesn't work out, I know a few people that I can resell it to. But thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have referral links so that you can kind of get a little bit of something for us buying?
Oh yeah. By the way, if anybody has a referral link for any of the products, let me know. I'd rather do that than anything else.
I think, yeah, the Audio Technica link I put in the doc is a referral link.
Can you put it on Slack? I'm on my phone right now.
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do that.
So I'm gonna head over to the Jumpstart Pomodoros for the day if anyone wants to join. Sam, hopefully we'll have put that link in the chat already. Is anyone coming? Yeah. Awesome. Yay! We got a few. And a quick question about tomorrow. Sorry to kind of just hijack the end here. I got to go. Is anybody planning to be in tomorrow? Because I know a lot of people were talking about taking 4th of July early because it's on the weekend. So just out of curiosity, is anyone planning to be or not to be here?
I am planning to be here because I have a meeting like right afterwards at 7. So I will definitely be calling in if there will be anybody here to talk to.
Okay, just checking because I just want to see what makes sense for everyone. Yeah. Okay. Looks like people are in. Awesome.
Not 4th of July for me. De veras.
I was thinking, we should have balance and take time off. If people want to do that, we should do that. But, I'm game either way. I'm here. All right.
Thank you, JBS.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Have a good
Bye.
Have a great day.
Thanks,
This
Jonathan.
is Jonathan.